Hey, Wendy.
Hello.
How you doing?
It's been a busy day. I'm a bit frazzled.
Yeah, I've got the same feeling going on. So, we got just a couple of minutes and we go live. I'm
Yeah.
still getting a few things set up here. So, bear with me while I do this. I'm going to make sure everybody knows we're here today. Let's see. We'll go that way and bing, bang, boom,
Gosh.
boom, boom, there, there, there.
It's
Hang
so
on
horrible.
with me.
Got to rearrange everything, right?
Yeah, it's that YouTube thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't need to put my 11-year-old in there. Nope. Oh,
So, Dad, why did you do that?
really? I think I've got everybody covered here. Let's go done and save. All right.
It's not turquoise. It's blue topaz, I think.
I missed something in translation there. Edit.
Colleen knows what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a crystal thing.
Boom.
Boom.
There we go. Oh, save. All right. I think I'm ready to roll over here finally. Ooh.
No pressure.
Yeah, really. Where's my other chair? It's way over there. All right. You ready to roll?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Roger Rabbit. Circumventing the ban. Yes. All right.
Coming live from a
Wendy,
completely different location.
is your necklace turquoise?
It's blue topaz, darling.
Show me. I can't quite see it. Oh,
It's
thank
blue
you.
topaz.
Oh, that's nice. I like that necklace. Hi, Carly Sagan.
Hi, Carly.
All right. Let's go live. So let's you and I go dark. Folks, sit tight. We'll be right back. Well, greetings and felicitations, everyone. Welcome to Robertson this Tuesday. This is Wendy, our 27th week doing this show.
I know.
Now, do you know that normal television seasons, prior to the advent of the way they do television now and break up seasons, were 26 episodes long? So you had half the year in episodes and the other half off.
Yeah.
And so now they break them up and they spread them out. So there's not so long to wait. But this is our 27th week, which means we have beneath our belts 26 weeks, half a year
I
of
know.
these episodes, 6 months worth
Yeah.
of episodes. So we were talking today, and Wendy thought this might be a good time to maybe do a little reflection, to go back and take a look at where we are, what we're trying to do, what we've attempted to accomplish. Have we accomplished anything we set out to do? and what are our goals to on the road ahead here. So a half a year doesn't seem like a long time, especially since we don't do a daily show. We do it once a week here. But still, 26 episodes. That's 26 plus hours of hopefully informative entertainment coming your way over the last 26 weeks. So, Wendy, do you feel 26 weeks older?
I think I'm 26 weeks wiser, actually.
Well, that's good.
I think I'm 26 weeks wiser for sure.
That's good. Now, you said to me that having done this show has been something that has enriched you and grown you. Tell me about that a little bit.
I mean, it's been a strange day because I've had, it's going to sound so bad, I've seen Mark and I had you and you were
Yes.
both my podcast hubbies. And, you know, a year ago, I wasn't doing this. I started working on podcasts with Mark on Strangely Us, which returns at the weekend.
Yes.
And being with you took me on a completely different energy, different vibe.
Of course.
And I've grown and learned so much from you, and I've grown so much from watching Mark. But it's like our friendship has developed stronger. And I think that we understand each other so much more through the time that we've spent on Robertson, and also because we talk a lot more. I also think that we found our niche, which when we first started out, we thought we'd do a bit of history, a bit of paranormal, with a bit of this, that, and the other. And it turned out that most people took us in one direction, which was life and relationships. And I wasn't prepared for quite a few things. And one was the feedback I would get from people saying, thank you for talking about that topic. It meant a lot. Thank you for giving me the confidence. Thank you for talking about this. It really meant a lot. I didn't think that would happen, and it still does. It happens all the time. You get it, or I get it. And I never thought I would have some of the negative stuff that goes with it as well.
Yeah.
It was something I wasn't prepared for, and still not. And also, who'd have thought I'd ever would go on to have my own show with women? And so it's almost like I feel like I've grown so much, yet I'm still learning. But it's my favorite night of the week. And don't get me wrong, I love Sunday nights, but it's my favorite night of the week that I get to spend with somebody.
I love it. I love doing the show with you, and loved you for a long time. You're my friend, and I've grown with you on this show.
Yeah.
And I think this show has opened up some different avenues for us to talk about things that sometimes there are things that maybe all of you out there that are listening to this or watching this, you have things that you say, I wish I could talk about this. I wish I knew how to talk about it. I wish I had somebody that understood where I'm at with these things. And Wendy and I have really strived to make those kinds of topics the things that we talk about.
Yeah.
And there's fun and frivolity and flirtation and all of that good stuff that's wrapped up in it. That's part of who we are. That's part of having fun with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we don't want to view ourselves as being over serious about ourselves and that we're so taken with ourselves on this. We're not. We're just surprised at the reaction, and we're surprised at frankly some of the things that come out of our mouths.
Rephrase that one, Scotty. Rephrase that for you.
Oh, we're sometimes surprised at some of the things that come out of our mouths, and I shouldn't even laugh about that.
Take a moment.
We should be going, what are you laughing about? What do you say? So,
and I think you weren't prepared. I mean, because when we first, especially wearing the first outfit that I ever wore, on Robertson, and I was so nervous that day. I didn't know do you know, I didn't know which way it was going to go. I
Right.
didn't know what to say or do. But we actually pre-recorded the first one, and let's have a look at some of the episodes that we have done that stick out in our memory. And one of them that comes to mind is our first episode,
Mm-hmm.
because we pre-recorded it and we
Yeah.
spoke from the heart on. And I think because we did have the live comments and everything else coming down, which sometimes we actually don't even look because we're so busy on the subject. But
Mm-hmm.
that was a really personal one for both myself and you. And I look back at it, and it's still the one that I'm so proud of, because it was the first of its kind. You know, it was like, oh my God, it was the prototype. And it was, no, I've sent it to a lot of people and they go, that was brilliant. You just said so many
Oh,
things
nice.
that I think, or I've heard from other people. So I'm really proud of that one.
Yeah. And I think what I'm proud of with this show is that now I've spent 20 years doing radio off and on. Started very trepidatious when it came to doing radio. I didn't know how to talk on radio. I was told I wasn't breathing right. I was told I wasn't talking right and all of this stuff, or the right things, or the right cadence, or whatever. And it took a while, I think, to get to the point where I felt really comfortable talking on air. I've always been comfortable talking to people or in to audiences in
Yeah.
public speaking, but doing radio, you feel like if I'm not saying the right thing at the right moment, at the right way, and stopping what I'm saying at the right moment, or finding graceful ways to cover up mistakes, or not saying so much, which I did a lot more than I do now. And once you get over that and you start feeling comfortable with talking, then it's what do I talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and I, like you stated already, there are various topics we wanted to hit, but we found the niche grabbing us as we were going on because we had a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember about that first show. Even though that first show was pre-recorded, I believe we still showed up in the chat room, even though it was pre-recorded, and we
We did.
chatted.
Yeah.
But then we took it live from that point on. So um, I think it's been an experience
Yeah.
hearing what people want to hear and grooming ourselves to understand the kinds of things we should be able to talk about and how we should be able to voice what we have to say about it. How do you talk about masturbation? Because that used to be like a taboo thing. How do you talk about that? How do you talk about sex? How do you talk about not having the right amount of sex? How do you talk about lack of affection? How do you talk all these different topics we've hit? And you and I, we just say we just need to just talk about it like we're talking to each other, like we're talking to friends about this stuff. And so that's been not so much a learning experience, but what would I call that? I'm not learning how to talk, but learning that the things we say and the way we're saying them, sometimes you just got to come right out and say them and be very comfortable with them and act like these are the things I talk about all the time. And yeah, let's talk about that problem. And and in a way, both you and I, this show has, I think, been authentic enough because it's all stuff that you and I experience.
Yes. And I think
And
you have to come from, we talked about doing it for years, and
mhm,
let's do something together. Let's do something together. And I think you have to, it's the universe makes sure it's the right time when everything works. And had I not done it with Mark, I don't think I would have been ready for this
ah,
show, because Mark kind of gave me that confidence to say, I've done, I've done more Robertson than I did Strangely Us.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
it's like I'm so proud of this show because I actually feel that we do make a difference, even if it's just to one person.
hmm,
And I've met some amazing people through this show, some
yes,
great friends, people that have been incredibly supportive when I've been low or down. They've had my back. I mean, Val, for instance, meeting Val was through Robertson. I got to be on Val's show. And when I was in Canada, and she just made me feel so welcome. Kenny made me so welcome. I got to know Kenny really well, and then Carlene, obviously, and Carly, who obviously I've just recently got to know. So I've met all these lovely people, and because Michael, who I have such a very special relationship with Michael. So if I hadn't had that kind of situation, I wouldn't be where I am now. And I
Sure.
think it's been a wonderful opportunity. And my sister watches the show, she catches it, and my friends, I know my friends watch it. I know my best friend often tunes in to watch it, and she'll say, it was a good show the other night, good show.
Nice.
It's one way of keeping in touch with people, even if you're not talking, even if you're not seeing one another. They get to see a bit of you even when across the world, and that is so important. And
It is.
another show that come home to me when we were doing it was when we were talking about, and I can't exactly remember the number, but it was about, I think it was like when you've been you feel rejected by the one you love. And I think Rudy put in quite a lot of comments of how
He did. I
feeling,
remember that show.
and he was very, thanks for the show. It meant such a lot. The most popular one that we've done so far has been long distance relationship. That seems to be growing in strength. And I guess there's a lot of people interested in that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the times we're living in or what it is, because certainly long distance relationships aren't what they used to be. I mean, it's easier. The world, as they say, the world has grown smaller with tech and with travel and so on. So maybe that's why that struck a chord, because maybe a lot of people are in those types of situations these days where there's a long distance relationship that you're trying to carry out. Sometimes even friendships are tough at long distances. And so what is that, what kind of havoc does that reap on romantic relationships? But I
And I
think
think
it was
it's
a good
harder.
show.
I think it's harder on what we said in the show. It's hard on a long distance relationship romantically, because as friends, you can just kind of, you're just sort of friends. But with a
Right.
romantic one, your heart is so involved. And but having said that, my best friend, as I said, is across the miles. And there's all the time that goes past, and you think, well, we could be going out for coffee, we could go shopping, we could do something together, and
Right.
all this time's gone past and you can't get it back. So that was a really important show. I think that it just, every time I look at it, it's gone up and up in views, and I think it was just really important. And I know people loved some of the paranormal ones we did right at the beginning in history, but they seem to come back for the relationship one.
They always did. They always did.
So,
So, because
what,
that's what's important. Those are the things that are important to us. And I think what you and I bring to the table is a long-term relationship. And so we have felt some of those pangs along the way. We've always spilt our guts to each other along the way. And so it was easy to latch into those topics and be able to talk about what kind of feelings do you get out of that? And are you supposed to ignore those feelings and go, oh, that's dumb because I shouldn't feel that way? Or do you give those feelings credence? Is every feeling we have worth giving credence to? Not always, because we might feel stupid feelings sometimes. Now, you can't tell the other person that. You can't tell someone else you're in a relationship with, oh, the way you feel, oh, that's dumb. You're looking for an exit door when you start doing that. But I think the value of what we have done here is open up people, at least to a certain extent, to be able to open up about the things they feel about all this
yeah.
kind of stuff. And to one degree or another, almost everybody who has frequented this show, who has favorited this show, and who comes here on a regular basis has experienced at least one of these things we've talked about. And when you experience one of them, you can understand most of them. And so that's where I think this show, I have seen some great benefit out of it. And folks, I hope those of you listening don't think I am speaking too highly of what Wendy and I are doing here. We still approach it with a great deal of modesty and a great deal of, um, I don't know shit about what I'm talking about sometimes, other than the feelings of it, as I just mentioned. And so we're learning and working and doing all that along with you
We're very
in everything in life.
we're very protective of the show, because one thing you and I
Yes.
have always been, we've always been professional, even though people, I remember the first comment, one of the first comments we ever had is like, oh, it's a great flirt fest. And
Yes.
and we actually chuckled at that, because they were like, they obviously had no idea what our friendship was like and our sense of
Right.
humor. And so I guess if you're looking at it from the outside looking in, you're like, what's going on there?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, it is just the way we are. And my friendship with you has been, there are times that, we've not always chatted all the time, but we've
Yep.
always been in each other's lives. So I think you and I have both been very protective of Robertson and
Yeah.
the look of it, the sound of it, and how we dress. And there have been times that I've had to do it from a bedroom in Canada, or you were in a cupboard, working away somewhere. But we've always come forward with it, even when we felt really sick and ill,
Yeah.
and when there's things going on in our personal life that no one's aware of. There are times that I've been in a really bad emotional way because of my own life, what's been going on, and you kind of put that face on. You put that face on that says I'm okay, and because and then when it comes off, you're like, because and people don't see that, and I also think there's the negative side of it as well, which you're not prepared for. What I wasn't prepared for when I started Robertson was
Right.
that there would be difficulties in some with some people. There would be some
Mm-hmm.
people that would make comments, or perhaps naughty ones as well. There was a time, when we went through that, which was quite difficult to sort of like get used to that. And also some people, and I don't want to use that word, but it's like, obviously you strike a chord with some people and they may not like what they see or hear. Maybe it could be jealousy, maybe it could be
Sure.
like dislike, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we're just two human beings bringing a show. We both make
Yeah.
mistakes. We both learn from life, and if we're here and if it helps one person and we make a difference, then it's all been worth it.
Yes. And I have had plenty of that. As I said to you when we were talking earlier, I said, I said, one thing I found is that as soon as you get a little bit of attention, I don't want to say celebrity, because I don't think either you or I are celebrities. We are maybe celebrities in a group of about 100 people, and meaning that all that means is our faces out there. We put our lives out there for people to see to a certain extent. And so we become celebrity, quote unquote, in the sense that people know us and they listen to us and they follow us and they watch us and they listen to what we have to say. That's certainly, I don't mean celebrity in the same status as, Hollywood and music and so on. But people get to know you is probably a better way to put it. And when you start getting, as I mentioned to you, when I started writing my books and my first book came out, there was this much celebrity that came with it, meaning there were people in these fields, the paranormal field and other fields, historical field, that took note of who I was, what I had to say. And that first book did rather well. And I can tell you, for context of what I'm saying here, it's like on Amazon. My book was at 211 out of 8.3 million books for just a few days, but it shot up there. And that was after a coast to coast interview with George Norrie. And so when that kind of stuff happens, what happens automatically? You start getting people that don't like you.
Yeah.
As soon as I had any kind of platform, when I worked for the Ghost Hunters, when I worked for, and I'm talking about the television show, when I worked for Ghost Hunters, when I wrote my books, when I published my magazine, all of that stuff, these were all things that as soon as my name started to become somewhat briefly recognizable in that field, I started developing haters almost immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I used to say, I was sitting and talking with several people. There was, if you're in the paranormal field, you recognize John Zaffis, the late Rosemary Ellen Guiley, Chris Fleming, and April Slaughter, and a few people. We were all sitting out on the veranda at the Stanley Hotel, just having coffee and chatting. And they were all talking about this very same thing, how I got these haters, these people just come and hate on you. And they're all talking. And I had just met them all. And I said, I guess I'm lucky I don't have any haters. And John Zaffis said, oh, you will, just wait. And we all laughed. And I told him a few years ago, I talked to him and I said, you remember what you said to me back in 2007, sitting on the veranda of the Stanley? He says, yeah, I know exactly what you're going to tell me. He says, you got haters now, don't you? I said, I sure do. And so they come with the territory, is what I found. I've had haters from, they can be somebody that doesn't like what I've written and they'll hate on me. I've had doctorates in history that have taken me to task or tried to take me to task, and I go to head with them, and they don't hate me; they just don't like me. I don't agree with his positions, and then I'll have you have haters that go all the way down the scale in importance to people who are jealous. Is somebody jealous of you, or somebody that doesn't like the fact that they wanted the limelight and you got it instead, and they believe you should be eschewed because you got a little bit of limelight that should have been theirs. And I have always striven to, it's like Abraham Lincoln once said, and I don't have the quote, but his paraphrase was, if you're going, he says, the best leader in any given arena is the one that, and Ronald Reagan said this too, he said, the one that gives other people the credit or builds them up along with him. And I've strived always to do that. So there's all these things that happen where you all of a sudden you got haters. And I'm like, why do I have haters? Why do people hate me for what I'm saying? Is this not good stuff? Am I doing the wrong thing? Do people really not like what I have to say? Do I have to rethink my position in my life? You would ask yourself all those questions. So
it takes a lot of guts.
The negatives actually is definitely there.
To put yourself out there, it takes a lot of guts, because that's something I think, with Mark, obviously I learned from Mark. Mark's pre-recorded. So when it went out, it's pre-recorded. We did a one live. And then obviously you and I, but I think what people think is they know you, and you're quite right. They don't know you. My friends know me. They know me inside out. And people like yourself and Mark and other people that have spent a lot of time with me, they know me inside out. And I think what you see with me is very much what you get. I am this person. I'm very down to earth and very a spade's a spade, but I'm also quite shy. There's also a side to me that I don't show people. It's that private part of me that not many people see.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people see this very confident woman, who can just, she's got it all going on. They have no idea that behind the health problems, the other stuff, sometimes I've dragged myself to do it. And you've said to me, my God, are you sure you're going to be able to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. Bring it on. They have no idea. So for us, we've been really proud, and we should be proud that we've done a really good show. And it's made a difference, and people watch it, from anywhere. And we've got such a great support.
Yes, we do.
And and not only from here, they go to Kenny's show, they go to your show, and they also now, hopefully, there's a lot of them are going to Wicked Women.
Yeah.
wonderful because, you know, Val and I are just starting out and it's pretty nerve-wracking. But we're getting there. But I think another episode that we covered, which I know was quite personal to you, was it was about the whole the sex, you know, like the indecent proposal. What was it? It's either the indecent proposal or the passion one. Or was it? It was, or something like, it was really funny. We had such a great laughter in it, and so
I
many
can't remember which
on
one.
the show. And it was, I think we were talking about the indecent proposals, or it was passion, something like that. And we laughed so much. And you know, you come off and you're on a high because you've like,
Yes.
and I can't get to sleep till like 12:30, 1.
Right, right.
But it was such a great show, and you know, who knew that talking about something like that would more people would want it, like
Right.
sex
Right.
or that. It was
There's our 40-year-old virgin is speaking up here.
field guy.
Sex, what's that? He says.
Yeah, that's
Field
true.
guy.
He was saying that on Wicked Women on Sunday. He was like, boobs. I love boobs.
Who doesn't? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, like we used to have an old saying, you know. Oh, now I can't remember how it rhymed, and I don't remember the rhyme, just the second part. It was you have to ask Uncle Dave about this. There was pirate poetry and pirate isms and all this, and they ended everything with, you know, oh, I love a Guinness, you know, I love this and that. I love to have it in my face. And everything ended with, I love to have it in my face. And so I was going to bring up the whole boobs issue. You know, the boobs issue is, oh, boobs, I love them in all shapes and sizes. You know,
like
I love to have them in my face. And I can't remember it. The joke has fallen flat because I had to explain it.
Kat comes up with a very good point about a one-sided relationship where one person puts in time and energy and the other person doesn't know that they exist.
Yeah.
That is so much true, because we do put a lot of work into Robertson. We talk about what the issues are. We go into all the different areas. We look and get all our information. It takes time, and then you do all the little photographs and all that kind of stuff. And it's the same with Wicked Women. I now so appreciate all the work that you put into Intrepid, Roberts, and you know, the Sunday show, because there is a lot of work involved in it.
Yeah.
You know, now look, doing it from my side of things, I'm like, I need Scotty. I want Scotty. Bring him back.
Called anytime. And you know, and that's the thing too. They say the ones who do it well make it look easy.
Yeah.
And I think you and I've worked very hard to try to make it look easy, although I'm full of blunders too. I used to have a producer. I used to have an engineer. All I do is sit back and I sit in front of the mic and it's ready to go, and I don't have to do anything. They're telling me it's a commercial break time, so I've got to step away, folks. You sit tight. We'll be right back. You know, and then I sit there until the commercial break's over. Now, when you're doing it yourself, it's you make more mistakes. You got to make sure I'm on the right channel, that I'm broadcasting to all the right places. And when I do that, you got to think about what kind of delay I have. When you're also broadcasting live to the radio station, you got to make sure the stream is set and that you hit the button at the right time, because the radio station, you know, it's not like you can be 20 minutes late and just go, hey, folks, I've just shambled in today to do my show, because it's just a little podcast and you're all my friends and you all get it. But when you do it on the radio, he's got a time slot. And so it's like, you come on at 4:03 and you will go to 4:58. And so when that 4:03 comes and goes, we got to be really careful of that. Same with my own show, with Intrepid, 9:03.
Well, this is what happened at the weekend, because at the moment, when Wicked Women's not on the radio, but it's going to be.
It's going to be.
Which I'm absolutely thrilled and honored, and that wouldn't have happened without Robertson, and I'm internally grateful for that, you know. But it's like,
Yes.
when Val was late with tech problems, I was like, woman, this can't happen when we're on the radio. And she was like,
Right.
I know, because it's
And it does happen. Stuff like that happens. It's unavoidable sometimes. I've thought of that very often. If I have a technical problem, we've had them on this show where he had those tech problems. That where I couldn't hear you if I was broadcasting to the radio. And once the stream picked up, my sound all went dead, and we still haven't figured that one out yet.
I know.
Frankly, we don't know why it's doing that, because it didn't do that at first.
No.
So there's these kinds of issues that come up. You got to work your way through them, because my philosophy is, if I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to try to do it the best possible way I can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you and I both determined about this show, is that if we're going to present information and offer credibility of some kind, we have to be credible. And we have to come across like we know what we're doing. We have to come across that we're professional to a certain extent. We have times that we have to meet. We have a certain way we have to say things, certain kind of levels our mics have to be at, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or cameras now, too. And so there's all these factors that go into trying to make the show look, we're not as polished as we could be, but we're polished enough. And
that it's shown you in a very, very different light, because you have your show and people know you from your show,
mm-hmm.
and they know you with your Sunday show with Rainey, and all of a sudden you came along with me, and it's a completely different energy and vibe, and all of a sudden people are seeing you differently, and it was been interesting to see the feedback from that. Like,
well, some of the initial feedback I got was, "Who's the blonde chick you're doing radio with now? She's kind of hot." I go, yeah, she is, and she likes to hang with me, so it's cool. So,
but you come across very, very differently as well, and I think that's something. Everybody brings out a different side to everybody,
mm-hmm.
and we all have different relationships which bring out different sides to us all.
Right.
And I think you have the one thing I know is that you've got my back, and if I fall apart or you fall apart, we've got each other's back. And in life, it's really important to know that you've got someone in your life who's got your back, who's going to support you, who's not, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how bad the shit gets, they don't just walk away and go,
yeah.
They stay with you no matter what.
Right.
Not many people we can say that on one hand, who we know will actually be there for one another.
Yeah, I agree.
I can only think of a few on one hand. I mean, I have lots of friends, I have lots of associates, but actual people that would be there come what may at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, and your show is so different to Robertson, and it's like, for some people it's like, we have a topic to talk about, but it was like, it's so important today that we reflected on the fact that here we are 6 months in, and especially with your show being like, with YouTube banning your show, and obviously coming from the Dark Huntress tonight, which is obviously we couldn't get Wicked Women's one up and running for some reason tonight. We wanted to go for the Dark Huntress, which is my page, and it was like, all of a sudden you were out of your sync. You were like, oh my God, all my stuff here.
We were trying to get set up, and I'm like swearing a Bluetooth, and she's like, calm down over there, Scotty. So
you were like, I can't stand this. And I was like, it's almost over. But it does made me look at what you've gone through to realize the things that I have to be careful about when I do Wicked Women, the things that other people might say. And this is why I said when we do Wicked Women, we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't vape, we don't do weed or anything like that, because it's professional. We're putting out an image to people, an image as in the fact that you can come talk to us, and we're here to listen and we're here to help. Because when I trained as a counsellor back all those years ago, that's what I wanted to do, was to help people. As a clairvoyant, I want to help people. So Robertson is an extension of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with that. This show is an extension of I mean, I look at my life, and I look back on my life, and I say, what did I originally go to school for? I went to Bible school. I went to seminary. I was a youth pastor, and I was in ministry and all of that kind of stuff. But so there was always that element of saying there's a certain amount of servitude that
Mm.
I put into what I thought was my calling for life. And then in everything else I do, am I as selfish as the next person? Hell yeah. I'm out to make sure my life is easy. I'm out to make as much money as I can because I want to get ahead. I'm out to make life easy for the people around me, my family, my loved ones. But there is a point where you say, and some people don't buy this. They don't think about this even. Is that the kind of show we're doing? I'm not doing this just to have airtime and FaceTime. Um, I don't spend all these hours doing this every week for the notoriety of it. I do it because I think there's something that needs saying or can be said or something we can all learn or
Yeah.
someplace we can go and advance ourselves. And if since that is our goal with this show, I think that has I think made an impression on some people out there that hey, Scotty and Wendy do this. Well, number one, it's clear to see we know each other, we like each other, we have a history together.
Yeah.
On top of that, it's clear to see that we have things that we've thought about that need saying. We want to say these because we think people need to hear this, or not so much they need to hear us saying it, but it's things that we understand that if we're going through it, everybody else is going through it. And this brings me back to a point I was going to make with talking about the negative stuff that we get, the negative feedback. It's like I said to you, Wendy, not long ago. And I tell myself all the time, I might get really discouraged by that negative thing that I hear out there or the way that person's acting toward me or whatever. Those things can burn me up at the moment. And if somebody gets really negative about me out there and is gossiping, that really freaks me out sometimes until I learned how to step back and go, that's one person out of tens of thousands of people that who hear my voice and who I talk to, and multiple thousands of people that like what I do and like who I am and how I say it and take something out of it. Like you and I, we do this show. And there's a lot of people that like this show, but if you get the one or two people that come along and say something negative, it's like, well, hey, fuck off. I don't care. And not to be that
Always hard
cavalier
to do
about
that.
it.
It's not always easy to do that.
I
There are
know,
I've
not
there
easy.
are times that I actually did consider whether I wanted to carry on because I found it some of it quite hurtful and
Yeah,
quite like because people think Kat's right, people think they know you, but they
yeah,
don't. They know what they see and what we show them. And if they knew that, there's a whole different life behind that. There was a time
yes,
that, there was a time that I even said this to Val, recently. I just not sure I want to carry on doing this anymore because I
mhm,
don't like bitchiness and I don't like two-faced people. I also don't
yeah,
like people that are rude and have no manners because manners cost nothing.
mhm,
And I think that it doesn't, I, I've been shocked by somehow people's behaviour, and that's something I wasn't prepared of. That you'd already been there, you'd done it, you'd already received that, you've already,
sure,
and haters are going to hate and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
actually, it was really difficult for me to kind of, oh, I'm not sure I want to keep doing this.
hmm
And you were like, no, no, you can't stop it. You've got to carry on.
yeah. And that's where I learned the phrase a long time ago: water off a duck's back.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a point where even if I feel it inside, I might go, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. You know why? Because I got more important things to focus on. And I think so. that's a lesson I think that this show has taught us both. Maybe you in more of an initial phase than for me, is that people are going to say shit, and you just go, I don't really care, and that's the way I have to approach life in general. It's I don't really care.
I
I
think
care
they
what
did,
you think to a point, but if your point is to demean, I don't really care what you have to say.
I
It's like
think they did from the start though. The first episode
yeah,
got so much feedback. I was like, oh my
I
god, who
know.
is this woman? She's flirting with Scotty. Like, what's going on? He's got a
So
wife and all that kind of stuff. And we were
yeah,
like, oh my god.
I
Realizing, but
know.
now everyone's got used to us. And hi, Andrew. And literally, it's like, oh, it's Wendy. That is how Wendy is. That is how Scotty is. And I do perhaps bring out the naughty, flirty side of you because that's my sense of humor. I'm
You
very
always have, but
carry on.
that's the way we have fun in life, and it works for us. So hey, Rocky Stucci is here. Roll them over like the cockroaches they are. Easy, he says. And that's when we were doing radio together. Rocky just said, he says, I flirt with cannoli. And that's his nickname he gave me,
Yeah.
cannoli. He's Italian, he's mafioso type, former. I don't kill the people anymore. Not that I ever did, and I won't admit to it, Fugazzi. But he gave me that nickname, cannoli. And Rocky's faced it. I faced it. And all this stuff. And he knows me really well. And he flirts with me all the time.
Well, and why not? It's free.
Well, he flirts with Rainey a lot. Rainey flirts with him a lot.
Thank you, Kelly Bell. That means a lot.
So,
Thank you for that.
so thank you, Kelly Bell. And yeah, this is the stuff you just get over. And it's a thing where, and I think my friend Rocky, since he's here, he's probably adopted the same kind of thing. There's an amount of genuousness, genuosity. I don't know what the word, if there is a word like that. You want to put that across. You want to be credible. You want to be genuine with people. You want to be honest. You want to open yourself up, show them who you are. But there's always portions you have to keep back because it's like, I can't tell you everything. And at the same time, while you can't tell them everything, you tell them enough.
Keep them guessing.
Keep them guessing. Yeah, I like to keep people guessing. And there's people have questions about anything you do. Well, what are you doing? Don't you have this? Don't you have that? Aren't you this? Aren't you? Are you two? Do you really?
Are
Are
we
you?
doing
It's
something
like,
that they don't know?
I don't know.
Are we actually, because people always wanted to know if there was something going on between you and me. And it was like, no, because first of all, I'm thousands of miles away. So,
Yeah.
and
And I'm married.
exactly. So it was not the thing. And I think also we were looking at, well, where do we go from here? Because we've covered so much ground.
Mm-hmm.
And there is lots of paranormal stuff and history
Yep.
stuff we could do. We have lots of plans to, when I come over, to meet up and do a whole live and everything like that. And that won't be far away now. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I think Mark and you want to do a bit of work together as well.
We do.
It'd be great to have you here and to do all that. So, but I also think the thing is that, one thing that's happened is that you and I have each other's back, and it doesn't matter what life has thrown at us, whether it's through this, or whether it's behind the scenes. No one can split the friendship between us because our friendship means a lot to us. This show means a lot to us, and I'm very, very proud of it.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm glad we've had the opportunity to do that. And all this show, folks, if you haven't figured it out, our only topic today was talking about, this is our 6 months we've been doing this show now.
And I also don't think we've ever had a show where it's just very casual and we've not really had a topic. And I think it's good to reflect back and just go, we've covered so many topics, you know,
Yeah.
jealousy, long distance, lack of sex, indecent proposal, all that kind of stuff. We've covered
Yep.
so much, and there's still so much to do. We've got some great ideas coming up, and I think that I have to, as I said, I have to be careful because I've got to do with Val, and some I know is going to work with me and Scotty. And you know, Scotty's so game for anything. Like you'll ring up and you'll say, "What do you think of this?" Then, and they'll go, "I think that's a brilliant
Cool.
idea, and we should do it."
Brilliant.
It's like, okay, let's do it, and it'll get everyone going. And I think obviously there was that episode when we talked about, I think it was passion and indecent proposals. I think it
Mhm.
was this, and Valentine's Day. We got a lot of feedback about my dress on Valentine's
It's a
Day.
stunning dress. You
It
should
was
have
the
gotten
red
lots of
off the
feedback.
shoulder one, and it was like, you know, and a lot of people think that we're going out to do. We look like we're dressed up, but it's like it's the niche that we wanted to go down, right?
Yeah, and we would make a dashing couple out on the town after the show. After the show, we're going out for martinis,
I'd
shaken,
love
not
something like
stirred,
that. Wouldn't that be great?
and yeah, it would be.
And also,
And
you work so hard, and you know, another point, you and I both have ill health, and we don't show that most of the time because we look like this. We're very good at putting a face on,
yeah,
fabulous, and carrying on. But you have
I
had
am
ill,
greatness.
and I was so scared at one point that you were just going to disappear, and I'd lose my friend, you know. And it's just
No,
so cool to come here every Tuesday and work with my friend.
yes, it's very fun. It's very cool. I enjoy it, and um, you know, uh, I don't think we've ever released each other's secrets, have we, on here? We've
No,
never told anything about the other person that we shouldn't have.
and we both carry each other's secrets.
Yes, we do.
We do.
And
This way, there is nothing that Scotty and I do not discuss.
that's very true and
Nothing.
haven't discussed for years.
Yeah.
Like right now, many of you don't know when he's not wearing any underwear, but I know this. I know this. So, I'm sorry. Did I let something leak out I shouldn't have? So, call me the whistleblower.
Oh,
So,
oh, he went there.
there it is.
And what, I'll let you get away with that once every 6 months. You made
Once
me.
every 6 months. There you go. So,
Oh my God, that made me blush. Look, I'm blushing.
oh, good. Yeah, take it. Yeah, here. I've got my cocktail glass too. So, how are you? Yes, cheers with my flowery
Remember
Tupperware cup.
that everyone thought I was drinking because I had a glass of water, and they were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
look, drinking," and it was like, "It's water. I actually don't drink hardly anything, and this is like cranberry juice." And they were like thinking it's vodka or something, and I'm
Well,
like,
that's the thing you do, you know. I can take a Guinness pint glass
"Yeah,
and I fill that full of iced tea sometimes. And I'm like, well, it's about time to tip back a pint. Just don't tell them it's a pint of Darjeeling.
yeah."
It's got affectation, but it works. So
And I have to say that you've just got your outfits have just gone better and better and better. Like,
why, thank you. I am tieless today, as I mentioned.
you look good
Uh,
though. Same.
I was rushing and I grabbed a tie and I went, that's not going to work with this. And I usually, it sounds prissy to some people, but I'll sometimes lay out an outfit. I have to lay out the sport coat, the suit coat, and a vest. Like I'm wearing a vest today, or I lay that out in the color of shirt, and oh, maybe I shouldn't do that shirt, or maybe I should. I love what new styles have done. You can go all over the place, eclectic with patterns. So I could wear this with a plaid vest. This one's paisley, but I could wear a plaid vest and a striped shirt and a different kind of plaid in the tie and a totally different color in the pocket silk. And it all works. So today, though, I put this all on and then I went to grab a tie and I went to button the collar to tie my tie. And this is an older shirt it's too small to button. I couldn't button it without, you know.
Yeah, but you're
So
rocking the whole not wearing a shirt look. It looks
I
fabulous.
could do the not wearing a shirt look. We've done that before. So you could do that too, frankly. Yeah,
Would you like that?
I would love it.
I'm
It's
sure,
folks, we got to
the
go now.
figures
And
may either go up or down after that, but and that's the fun we have as well before the show. That you're always
yes,
like, Wendy, where's your cleavage? Show it.
cleavage sells. So
I'm just like,
I got to tell you, folks, there are times I will say to Wendy, in all seriousness, not flirting, I'm like, Wendy, you got to pull that down a little bit and roll your shoulders and sit up a little higher. And she said, like this, and I go a little more, a little more. And so she'll do a little more, and I go, there it is. She goes, what? I should be showing off my cleavage? And I said, yes, you should be. This is not just a show where we like to inform people, but
oh
we
yeah,
want, yeah, I'm not wearing any pants, Kat. How did you know? Behave. And, but, sex sells, as they
it
say.
does. Yeah,
So you
absolutely.
get saucy sometimes. Let's get saucy with this and attract a little attention. But at the same time, you do it because it looks good. You present your best self forward. And so that's what we try to do. Now, I'm obviously not as good looking as Wendy, but I'm also a lot older than Wendy.
You're incredibly
And
handsome. Don't say that. I mean, I think we complement each other very well,
we
and
compliment,
I,
yes.
I think it's Mark and I have a different energy. You and I have a different energy, and then
Yes.
I have a different energy with the girls on Val and on Wicked Women. But I think that one thing I hope that it's been 6 months of fun, frolics,
Yes.
laughter,
And I
tears,
love it.
and difficulty. And there have been times where I thought, oh my God, and Uncle Dave said it. He said, I don't think Robertson gets enough credit. It's a really good show. And I,
It
this is
really is.
not mine. It's a really good show. I really think it needs to get more exposure. And we hope it does, because there's so many more topics, my friend, that we have to talk about.
My mic went dead. And this is the truth. There's a whole lot more to talk about and a whole lot more to do. And but for tonight, we're technically done with the show now in just a few seconds. So we're going to sign off for the radio audience. Everybody stick around for a few minutes. We'll have a few minutes of after show and we'll talk some more. So in the meantime, everybody over on the radio, thank you for joining us. Join us again next week. And for now, live long and prosper. And we are back from the break. We are now free and clear of the radio station. And so we'll just chat a few minutes. I don't have a lot of time.
Ask us any
tonight,
questions
but,
they like. We're open for questions.
we're open for questions. Go ahead and shoot them at us. Let me throw you guys the link if you want to call in. Rocky Stucci, if you're out there, you should call in. You really should.
You had
Here's the link.
What was his name this afternoon popped on? Look at the Dark Huntress. There she is. Look, putting out the StreamYard. What was the guy's name that came on this afternoon? The pagan guy.
The painting guy.
The pagan guy with Michael.
Oh, Travis.
Travis. Yeah.
Travis, yeah.
Travis today.
Yeah, we had a good time. You threw me with this afternoon because that was this morning over
Oh,
here.
yeah, so it's my
So,
afternoon. Yeah, it
right,
is.
right. So
But it
there's
was
a link, folks. If you want to call in, you can call in and talk to us live.
come up as
Live.
Subspace Radio Network, The Intrepid and the Dark Huntress.
There it is. That's us. So
I'm
we'll
so-
just sit here and wait for you to call now.
yeah. No, we won't.
Yeah.
Literally reading some of the comments, which I try not to read them when I'm doing it because it actually puts me off.
It can. It can. And that'll happen to me during my show. If I'm covering a topic and somebody says a comment, sometimes if I read it, I go, oh, hey, I got a comment on this. And I got to break out a
It really
topic.
does put me off. Thank you, Carlene, for saying that. You guys
Giant
have
wasp dude, yes.
You guys have touched a lot of people. Thank you. Well, thank you.
Thank you,
It means a lot
Carlene.
to us. And, you know, I don't watch Scotty's show until next morning. I always watch The Intrepid, and it's always a great show. And I have to watch it next morning. And then obviously I get to watch the Sunday show that you do. But Tuesday's my favorite because, you know, I get to be with you and it's such great
Yes.
fun. And, you know, that's the thing. We wanted to make a difference with Robertson. I remember us talking about it before we even brought it to life. And I was like, you know, I think that you and I both come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different communities. But somehow I think we can make a difference to people. You come from having divorce, so do I, lost babies, so have I, you know, had all kinds of health issues, so have I. We had lots of things we had in common.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that was one of the things that we never really talked about, like, is our background. I mean, everybody knows your church background, but mine was very different because obviously I was a counselor and I worked for probation and prison and et cetera, and I enjoyed that. It was great fun. I did one-to-one counseling and all that kind of stuff, but then the clairvoyant side came out. But I found that when we talked about what we were going to do in the beginning, it was like, are we going to do some readings on live, which we could? Are we going to talk about the paranormal? And I was like, all of a sudden we found that we were doing this whole life relationship thing, and now people have, you know, write to us and say, can you ask this topic, because I want to know about it. And I think you and Scotty would actually bring this topic to life, and that just means that for one person we've made a difference, and that makes it worth it.
Right. And I agree, and that's just seems to be the way it kind of works the best. And
obviously Tuesday's your favorite show.
Say that again.
Obviously Tuesday is your favorite show.
Oh, obviously. It's the one I dress up for. So
and you look great.
Why, thank you, and so do you. Look at us. Look at how we match. We don't match, but we match. We correspond. The blue.
And it'd be so nice this year to actually meet finally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the planet's ready for that, but it will be so much fun to actually finally have a conversation with you without a camera.
Yes.
At you, without a microphone passing my voice. It's going to be so great just to be sitting there and seeing you, you know,
yes,
and have that conversation with you.
I agree. That'd be phenomenal for that to happen, and hopefully this year.
And it makes it hard because when you were taken ill, you know, I was so upset because I'm over here. I can't just.
Oh, you're talking way back.
Yeah, I couldn't just come over and see you. And you think, like, you know, I want to support you as much as I can, and all I can do it is from this distance. And you know, it makes you realize how life is so short. Life is so short. It's silly to be so petty, and so and get caught up in so many silly things.
Agreed.
When the big things in life really matter rather than the small things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's like it's interesting. This just pops into my head. It's not a parallel or anything, but my closest, dearest friend, John Ward, my friend who's the British archaeologist in Egypt, and we had done a lot of stuff together, had a lot of adventures together, and I got a message from him when I was in my hospital bed. And I had come to, it took me a couple of days really before I even realized how many people had sent me messages or even knew what was going on. And he sent a message that I kept it and I printed it out somewhere so I would never lose it. But it was to the effect of, in speaking about being close, he says, "Brother, I'm sorry I can't be there." He's on the other side of the globe.
Mm.
And he said, but, and I could hear him saying it. He says, "I knew you would be all right." He says, "Because men like us, we don't die in hospital beds." He says, "We die doing great things and having great adventures." He says, "So when I see you again next, I'll throw my arms around you and we will go on a new adventure." And it was just it's beautiful. It's somebody I knew, somebody I'd spent a lot of time with, but he wasn't there. And there's nothing that remedies the distance better than taking the distance out. And
I think I sent you a message something like, "Don't you dare bloody die, or I'm going to come over there and kick your ass." And I think it was
yes,
like that, because it was a real shock to me when I saw you that ill, and I could not be there to
yeah,
just even if it's just like bringing you something nice, or just
hmm,
that support is needed. And the same in my life. I mean, there's many times that you've seen me cry my eyes out and
yeah,
my heart broken or be really ill, in and out of hospital, and you've just been like, "I feel so helpless. There's nothing I can do. I'm just here at a distance." And I think that, over the years, your friendship goes in a different way,
yeah,
and that's why I think we care so much about this show, because we care about each other. We care about people
hmm,
that join us, the family. And I think that, I hope they get to see the other side to Robertson, as in the fact that these are two friends who have known each other a long time, that really just thought they could make a difference somewhere, because
hmm.
that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely, that's exactly what we're trying to do. So, hopefully, it conveys, folks, and that you enjoy the show because of that. And boy, I think that's probably just a good place to wrap. I don't think anybody's calling in,
That's fine.
uh, which is
I mean,
fine if you don't feel like it.
we just wanted tonight to be a reflection of us,
Yes,
and just where we, I'm so grateful to do the show. I absolutely love it. And thank you for being such a great work colleague and podcaster husband, as you are. And I'm just, here's to the next 6.
absolutely. And I'm all on board, and I look forward to doing them with you, Wendy. So we'll have a good time with it, I think. All right, everybody. That's about all we got. And so we're gonna go. We're gonna go now. We'll be gone for a
Go
week.
now and leave you.
Yes. And I'll talk to you, Wendy, in a little bit. And the
Okay.
rest of you, I want to thank you for being here again. We'll play our out music again just because we like it.
Because
It's
we
fun.
love the theme tune. It's so sexy.
It is. It is indeed.
I'm
It's
so
very
glad you
fitting
told
for you.
that, because I didn't even know what music you picked for Robertson.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time you played it, I went, "Wow, where did you get that?" And you said, "Well, I just heard it and thought of us." And I was like,
I did.
"It's bloody cool."
There it is. It's like a totally different kind of music, but it's like, do you remember the Zorro movie, the first one with Antonio Banderas
Do. I love
and with uh, why am I spacing on her name?
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Hmm.
Who I had a huge crush on.
She's very pretty.
And there was that scene where they had the dance. Da-da-dun, 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 da-dun, da-dun-dun. And it wasn't really a tango or anything like that, but it was their own thing. And I thought, I need something like that for this show. And so that's what came up.
And
And it works.
it's really hard to find it, because you put me on the right page to get the
Yeah,
music for Wicked Women. And there's millions to choose from. And I was like listening and listening and
I
listening and
know.
listening and going down, going, nope, nope. And you sit there and you think, come on, where is it? where is that theme tune? And so
Right.
when I heard Robertson, I was like, he did good. You know, and I hope people think that the same
I
about
did.
Wicked Women too, because obviously you and I chose Wicked
And
Women.
I love it when you tell me how good I've been.
Oh, you've been very good.
No, why, thank you. And so have you. All right. Let's get out of here, Wendy. And everyone, we'll talk to you
Thanks,
next week.
guys.
And we'll see you later. You have a good week, good day tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow night on my own show, the Intrepid Radio program.
I'll see you in the morning somewhere like that, you know.
Yeah, I'll see you in the morning first. So all right. There it is.
Live long and prosper, Scotty says
Live
Sandra.
long and prosper. Talk soon.